friends and familiars. This is Matt Orozco from Macabre Daily, and I am beyond excited to be joined by a man who should not need many introductions, as you've probably seen him in one of his over 130 IMDb credits, Mr. Sean Cronin. He is an actor, director, producer, owner of magnificent films, former goth rocker, potentially current pirate. I mean, the list goes on, Sean. Thank you so much for spending some time with me.
Fantastic and great to see you. And sorry it's taken a while to get this interview to happen, because as you know, I'm kind of busy at the moment.
Yeah, for those unaware, Sean shared a bit of his schedule with me before this, and I gotta say, no one should be envious of the level of busy, but it is amazing you are coherent and sound at this point. So I appreciate you carving out a little bit of time for us. We're going to dive right in, though, because we're here to talk about your upcoming film, Bogieville, which is going to be premiering at Fright Fest on the 25th. You've got one sold-out show, possibly another one around the corner. So can you tell us a little bit about where the idea for Bogieville came from?
Interesting. I was approached by Henry P. Gravel about, 15 years ago. And it was, I wasn't where I am in my career then. I was doing okay. I still had to go to auditions in those days. Now I don't go to auditions. You just call me up and it says, Sean Cronin, supervillain, inspired only at enormous expense. Please leave an offer. So now I've become a go-to villain. And he sent me a few screenplays, and there was a gangster movie and a heist movie. And then he sent me Bogieville. And the name immediately, I thought, what's Bogieville? And he sent me the screenplay. And I was in a goth rock band for 20 years. I'm a bit of a goth. In fact, I'm a lot of a goth. And I read the screenplay, and it wasn't Twilight. It wasn't The Vampire Diaries. It wasn't even Interview with the Vampire. It had a little bit of Near Dark and a little bit of 30 Days a Night. But even that, it was kind of hillbilly vampires. These guys wear dungarees and live in trailers. And I just thought, this is different. It's totally different. And I fell in love with the script. At that point, I didn't have the credibility that I have now. I'm not saying that I'm hugely credible, but what it is with the film industry, and a lot of filmmakers will know this, you can't make a film until you've made a film. So to get people to give you enough money to make a movie, you've got to give them confidence. What's your track record? What have you done before? So over the last few years, I've directed, I can't lost count, 5, 6, 7, 16, I think. DOP 25, acted in 90 or 100. I mean, not all of them are on my IMDb, but I made a few films that have actually made their money back, which is the trick, and it's a difficult thing making independent. And I promised Henry, and Henry's in his 70s, and Henry's a very prolific writer. He's got another great horror called Hobo. He's mainly a horror writer. And his health is not great. And I said, don't worry, Henry, I'll get the movie. And every year, Sean, have we got the money yet? Have we got the money yet? And then I moved on to a farm where I live in Surrey. I've got about 25 acres of land. And it's creepy. It's got this driveway that goes up and trees. And I thought, hang on a minute, this is Bogieville. And I then drove all around the country with a truck, picking up broken up, smashed up trailers and dragging them to the house until I accumulated about 20 of these bloody trailers. And I did that before I even told Henry that I had that. And I found a wonderful investor. And I phoned up Henry. I said, Henry. He said, what? What's the matter? And he's in Boston, Massachusetts. I said, I got the money and I got the location. And then I walked him with my phone. I walked him round Bogieville, and he went, oh, my God. And that's how it came to be. But it's just a totally different kind of screenplay. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And it's an interesting take on vampires. There's a lot of the traditional. They can't go out in the sun. There's no silver bullets or stakes through the heart. I won't give too much away. But it was just a new take on the vampire story. And the other thing about our vampires, which has never been done before, our vampires know when it's a woman's time of the month, right? So a little bit like, if you cut your leg in shark-infested waters, you're going to get eaten by a shark. So there's a little element of that in the film, which is maybe taboo, maybe it's not. Ironically, some people are going, you can't do that. But the idea, that particular element of the film, although Henry wrote the screenplay, that was actually came from a lady. So it was so, you know, if anyone goes, that's really inappropriate, I'm going to go, well, blame her. So yeah, so it's just a different take on vampires. You know, that's
I
why
mean,
I fell in love with it.
I think you're the first person I've ever heard who's taken their estate and then turned it into a trailer park. But I think
Yeah.
that that's amazing that you kind of persisted and you followed through with Henry to get this made. And I know you have a couple of shows coming at Fright Fest, so I'm eager to see what people's reactions are. But I know you're also starring in the film as Madison. So what kind of inspiration did you draw on personally? Because obviously you're used to playing the heavy, the villain, if you will, but obviously, being in front and behind the camera, I'm curious to know kind of what you've kind of used as your reference point to fill out your Madison character.
Well, it's the other thing about Bogieville is the family values. I don't want to give too much away, but the reason the film's called Bogieville, and people in the UK go, "Why is it called? What does that mean?" Because bogey in the UK means you got a booger, you know. But the reason it's called Bogieville is because Madison's character is a Humphrey Bogart fan, and that's why it's called Bogieville. And I just fell in love with the family values of it, and I just love Madison because he is so horrific, but he doesn't want to be. He can't help it. He's condemned to an eternity of damnation. And what's interesting about Madison is there's a little glimmer of decency in this horrendous creature. And these guys are they're not pretty. They're not, they haven't got lovely cloaks, and they go.
These aren't your romantic vampires.
These are not. No, this is not Count Dracula. This is. Yeah, when they get turned, not only, I mean, obviously a lot of the vampires, they stay the same. They're immortal. They don't age. But these guys don't change their clothes either. So they go out and feed every night, and their dungarees have got 50 years worth of killing on them. And it's got this special family values in it. And what it is, I don't know if you know my backstory, that I'm a single mother. I've got two girls. They're 15 and 16 years old. They've never met their mother. They met her briefly on exit. Very quick funny story. You may notice I've got quite a big scar on my face.
Little one, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a trophy wife. She was a lot younger than me, nearly 15, 17 years younger than me. And we had two babies. I was doing very, very well, very successful when I met her, but then I didn't do so well for a while. I've been a millionaire, then I'm not a millionaire. Then I spend it on a pirate ship, or I invest it in a movie. And she said to me, I've breastfed these children. I'd like to get some fake boobies. So I thought, is this an investment? So I bought her some fake boobies, and she ran off with somebody else. She left me. I was like, oh my God. Came back a month later.
Those aren't the prenup, I take it.
Yeah. So she came back a month later. I said, where the fuck have you been? We had an enormous fight. She threw an ashtray at me, did this. The next day I went for an audition. I went for an audition to be the Scarface villain in James Bond, and I got the job. I said, you can keep the tits. But, so, going back to why Bogieville, it's the family values. So I've all those movies I've made them whilst bringing up two girls. I mean, I've directed music videos with two babies sitting on my lap with bottles in their mouths,
Wow.
And they've been on set, and they've met Tom Cruise, and they've come on all these movies. And I did a horror with them recently called Torture, which is not out yet, where I put them through a meat grinder and turned them into hamburgers. But so it had the family values, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's a child vampire in Bogieville. There's a family connection to that child vampire, and there's protection that comes from Madison. Although she's a vampire, she's probably the scariest vampire in the film, but she is a child, or she was a child. So it's got these strange family values, and for me, family is very important. I'm half Irish, half Sicilian. So, the family is very important, capiche. So family values, that's what I liked about the screenplay as well. You got a bit of that with Interview with the Vampire, when they had the young vampire girl that was with
Antonio Banderas and
yeah, that's right. With I'm trying to remember the actual Lestat, and I can't remember the other character's name now. Louis in Lestat. bit of that. So I like the family values for it, and I just thought, yeah, I'm a single dad. Maybe I could be a single dad vampire or a single uncle vampire in this. So yeah, that's kind of drew me to Madison. But another crazy thing, Matt, about directing Bogieville is for about 50% of the movie, I'm in full vampire makeup. I've got black full sclera lenses in, great big gnarly teeth. These are not pretty Halloween fangs. These are
They're
feral,
gross.
gross. They're really disgusting. And I'm trying to direct this film with this. I can't speak very well. I'm just sort of lisping, speaking like that. And I can't see. So I've got my first AD with a screenplay guy. I'm going, okay, what's next? And it was interesting, dynamic, and also I was pretty terrifying. So nobody disobeyed me on set. When I said cut, they cut. But you know, it was a great experience. And everything that could have gone wrong on Bogieville went wrong. We had thunder and lightning. We had storms knocking down trees. Our lead actor, we handcuffed him to a police car, and somebody lost the keys to the handcuffs.
Oh, my goodness.
So like, and he's quite, you know, he's a bit of a star, this guy. He's not a diva, but he's well known, and you've got to look after the talent. And he's handcuffed to the car for 2 hours. You know, making a movie, and any filmmakers, and many filmmakers, I'm sure, maybe hopefully will watch this. You know, people nod off when you watch it. I don't got to speak. This movie took 200 people 5 years to make, and it nearly killed 50% of them. Making movies is very, very difficult. People don't understand. You watch a movie, you just, you know, you sit there, yeah, this is great, and you get people who criticize. You get all these reviews on IMDb, and you know, this is crap. And they're comparing it to Hollywood. You know, Hollywood, right, they have $200 million to make a movie. I had $300,000 on this one. And they compare it. So I love those users that have never made a film to actually go out and make a film and then come back, because it's very, very difficult. It's an achievement for any filmmaker to bring a film over the line is an enormous task. And especially to actually make it so that people get paid on that film, and it's a job, you know, because I've made a point of over 10 years ago, you work for me, you work for me. It's not a favor. You don't get an IMDb credit. You get a living wage, and you can pay your rent and pay your bills, and it's a proper job. And I made that a pledge from me, because I understand that you can make money. You can make films on nothing and nobody gets paid. But then it's a hobby. And for me, it's a job. This is what I do for a living. And I've done that the last 15 years. I've been very lucky to just about scrape a living out of doing what I love, you know. I'll stop talking now.
I think it's amazing, because it's been said before that to make a movie is a miracle, in that there's so many things that could go wrong. There's so many people that have to work together, that the fact that movies even get made at all is somewhat of a miraculous event. And I was just listening to something yesterday. It was talking about Mary Herron when she was making American Psycho. And, you know, she'd been involved with the project for a very long time, trying to get a script off the ground, casting. Didn't know that she had delivered both of her children during the time in which she got involved with American Psycho, to the point of the day that it was released. She actually delivered her baby right before their second child, right before the premiere. So I think, you know, the fact that you bring a lot of that family values into not just the role, but also to your, you know, your personal life and kind of the way you work, and seems like the way you know, cast and the people you work with also bring some of that sense as well. It's not just admirable, but I think it will certainly show up on the screen and in the product. You know, and as far as the shooting schedule is concerned, I mean, how long was it that you all were in production and filming?
It was quite a long time. It was about 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and it was 6 days a week. It was not, you know, it wasn't piecemeal. It was every single day. Very, very, very trying schedule. You know, I always think I'm going to make a movie. I'm going to go to the gym in the morning, and you can't, because you literally you're you wrap at you know, 8 or 9 or 10. It's a vampire movie, so there's so many night shoots. I mean, just crazy. I'll just tell you one funny, fateful night. We had, do you know what a cherry picker is? It's like a cherry picker, yeah. So we've got 2 cherry pickers, 30, 40 foot in the sky. One of them's got a 10K light on. We created the moon. It was a very cloudy night. We needed a moon. So we created this huge fake moon. And then on the other cherry picker, we've got our cinematographer, our DOP, Daniel Patrick Vaughan, on top of this cherry picker, right? It's 4 in the morning. It's freezing cold. We get the shots, you know, 4 a.m. I go, right, okay, let's get the cherry pickers down. The moon comes down. The other one with the DOP doesn't come down. He's 30 foot in the air. It's freezing. And it's windy and howling. And I'm going, why is it? It's not coming. So I phoned the guy. Hey man, the cherry pickers, he's not coming down. He's not picking up. It's 4 a.m. So we're like, my God, so an hour. He's up there, an hour. He's going, yeah, I'm fine. It's okay. And eventually we realized that one of the legs was slightly kinked and the hydraulics will automatically, as a default, not let. So I saw the leg and I clicked it and then it came down. But and that same night, this is crazy, the same night. So when you put these teeth in, these teeth in, you put some, I can't remember the name of the stuff. It's kind of molding stuff. I can't remember the name of it. Polymer. You put the polymer in and it's so you heat it up. You put the teeth on with the polymer behind it and they weld to your teeth for about 5 minutes. Then you've got to take it out quick. And then that polymer goes hard and they become a perfect fit, right? But you must take it off within 5 minutes. Anyway, so I put my polymer in, wedged the teeth in. Suddenly, Sean. An hour later, the polymer has gone rock hard. I can't get my teeth out. So 5 in the morning, we've finally got the cinematographer down from the cherry picker. And I'm going, right, I'm putting these teeth and they won't come out. Holy shit. And the only way to get them out is with boiling water. So you've got to melt the polymer again. So I've got my face in a cup of water. Like this. I'm going, help me. And of course, the crew are laughing their head off. I'm going, I can't get my fucking teeth out. And it took me about an hour. So I learned, next time, you've got to, whatever goes on, you've got to get those teeth out. So, the film was just, there was just chaos after. It's just so difficult. And the other problem was that, the deep south, Atlanta, Georgia, where the movie's set, is mostly very warm and hot. In England, it's freezing cold every day. It's raining, storms. We're not only creating fake moons, we're creating fake suns to create that lovely kind of tobacco yellow kind of hue that area of part of the world has. So it was an enormous challenge to make Bogieville an American movie in the UK. There are a few American accents there. Some of the American accents aren't perfect. It's kind of okay because there's a few what you call Easter eggs in there. There's a couple of things that I've left in there which are deliberately wrong. And I was going to take them out. I said, no, I want to see if people notice what was wrong. The other challenge, of course, Matt, was driving down the wrong side of the road, right? We're on the other side of the road. So we've got shots. Now, to close the road in the UK for 2 minutes is £500 for 2 minutes.
Any road, right? Regardless.
Any road. If you close the road, it's 500 quid. So I thought we can't do that. So I've got a runner at one end and a high vis. I'm at one end of the road with a high vis going, right, shit, okay, do it. So very, very challenging. But so Bogieville, crazy. It's a crazy movie. And I hope you like it. It's very tongue in cheek. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's got some comedy moments. It's got some jump scares and stuff. But it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be The Exorcist. It's meant to be fun, and I hope people enjoy it for what it is.
Well, we've had so many. There's been a resurgence of some sort of vampire movies and productions this year. We've seen The Interview with the Vampire series on AMC do quite well. I think they're getting more seasons. We have Abigail, from the Radio Silence folks. Now we have Bogieville. You also have another film, Drained, that you're working on. Is there anything you can share with us about Drained?
Yeah, well, Drained is a fabulous, totally different. It's a love story. It's about dependency, about addiction. Set in the UK. The leading lady was brought up and lived all of her childhood in the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains in Transylvania. She comes from Romania. She's a big star over there. And it's very slick, Drained. Bogieville's what it is. It's kind of a crazy hillbilly vampire B movie, and that's what it was meant to be. But Drained is something different. I've got interest from major studios that are sniffing around because it looks so slick, and it's co-directed by my dear friend Peter Stiliano, who is just, when I read the screenplay, I just go, wow, this is just awesome. And I went to my investor he's already given me money for Bogieville. I said, Phil, I've got another vampire movie. He said, get the hell out of here. I talked him into it. I mean, this is, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because we haven't announced it, but it's headlining or it's premiering at a very big film horror festival in Los Angeles in October. I can't say, I mean, you know what it is. I told you already, and we can maybe announce that further down the line.
Mum's the word for now.
Yeah, the organisers have asked us not to announce it, but and I was surprised that Bogieville didn't get into that one. But what it is with a lot of these festivals, they like it to be the world premiere, and it will be the world premiere of Drained in Los Angeles in October, and it's the world premiere of Bogieville at FrightFest. And we just got a new press release. We just signed a worldwide deal with a sales company and distributor and stuff. So those announcements will come out soon. We're trying to work out. It'll probably be a Halloween actual release for the film, not right on Halloween, the month of Halloween. We're looking at around the 15th of October for it to go on worldwide release if we get all our ducks in a row and all our deliverables ready. But yeah, so that's the plan. So Bogieville comes out in October, and Drained, as it's a vampire love story, comes out on Valentine's Day 2025. So
perfect.
That's quite exciting.
Well, we're going to be keeping our eyes out for Bogieville in October and absolutely Drained in February. My last question for you is, and I already know this answer. We've had this conversation before, but I think it's always my favorite question to ask, which is, if you're asked to program a double feature and Bogieville is one of those movies, what movie are you pairing up with Bogieville?
Yeah, well, we said this when we tried to have the interview before. It's Near Dark, which is one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. And it's interesting, as I think I said last time when we spoke, I saw I couldn't find it online. I've got a copy of it, but I was with my girls a few months ago. I said, you've got to watch Near Dark, and I could not find it for love nor money on any platform. And I found an interview I found a documentary about the making of Near Dark, and I'm sure everybody, the horror fans, know it was directed by Catherine Bigelow, who was married to James Cameron at the time, and I think she left him because he kept waffling on about this bloody film about a boat, which was Titanic. And Catherine Bigelow was talking. Oh yeah, we only had, because they were competing with The Lost Boys. It came out around the same time. And they said, yeah, we only had $5 million. I'm going, only $5 million? But still, to this day, one of my favorite vampire movies. I loved Bill Paxton, Severin, his character Severin, Lance Henriksen, just the whole cast, the whole vibe of the film was just brilliant. And I haven't tried to make Bogieville like Near Dark. Near Dark, I never, but there are a couple of nods to Near Dark in the film. They're little things. One is a bit of the framing in the way that the family of vampires look in one shot, and there's something else which I'm not going to give away, which was definitely Near Dark. And it's not me trying to steal Near Dark. It's a nod to Near Dark and to how good it was, and that's kind of also why I picked up Bogieville, because I love Near Dark so much. And it's not like Near Dark, but it's got some elements. There's just some moments that in the screenplay that just reminded me of the atmosphere of Near Dark. So yeah, if I could do a double bill, it would be Bogieville, and then Near Dark would be the headliner. Be the support act.
We haven't seen Bogieville yet, but I can say, based on the stills we've seen up to this point, there's definitely some similar kind of look and feel to that extent. But I know we're excited to see your take on this, given your love of all things scary, spooky, and vampire. And also the amazing work you've done in the film business. So Sean, I just want to say thank you so much for taking this time out of your busy schedule to have this discussion. And also congratulations and good luck this weekend on the Fright Fest premieres. I can't wait to hear the reactions, see how much people love it.
I'm kind of scared, man, but they'll either love it or they'll hate it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. So just a little final, as I say goodbye. In 5 minutes, I leave. I'm doing a horror remake, as you know, of Captain Hook, playing a character called Admiral Smee, and it's not Captain Hook is the goodie in this, and I'm a very, very bad person. I was hoping to actually do the interview in my costume, but it's just you can't move in it. It's this great big crazy leather spiky thing. But yeah, in about an hour's time, I'm going to be killing people in a really rather horrendous manner. And on that note, Matt, thank you so much for your time as well. Brilliant
Thank you,
stuff.
Sean. Good luck with the slaughter and talk to you soon.
Cheers. Thank you, brother. See you later.